When I first started detecting, I thought that I always had to find something valuable just to prove I was doing everything right. I was chasing signals, spending hours chasing signals, watching YouTube videos, tweaking my settings, thinking that one more adjustment just might do the trick. I mean, heck, I even went out and bought more expensive detectors thinking that was going to change everything. But looking back on that now, I realized one thing, or actually two. Not only was I not detecting right, but I wasn't thinking right either. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a few things that I wish I knew when I started. So let's get into it.
Welcome to Straight from the Coil Beyond the Beeps. I'm your host, David, detectorist, storyteller, and believer in what the hobby really gives us. This isn't just about targets in the ground. It's about the mindset, the moments, and the meaning we uncover along the way. So whether you swing solo, dig with friends, or just love the sound of a solid tone, you're in the right place. Let's go beyond the beeps.
I started detecting with excitement, just like most people. I thought every field was a treasure map. Every beep meant silver. I remember the first few hunts, the adrenaline, the possibilities, and then reality. Junk, deep iron, mysterious vanishing signals, settings I didn't understand. And you know what the worst part was? Watching other people post insane finds online while I came home with can slaw, pull tabs, and dashed hopes. I started thinking maybe I just wasn't cut out for this. Maybe I picked the wrong hobby. But the truth is, I was doing what most beginners do. I thought detecting was just about finding awesome things in every hole. But it's actually a learning process. What? It's a learning process? Yeah, it is. So here's 5 things that I wish I'd known early on. Your gear is not your problem. It's tempting to think that a better coil or a newer detector is going to fix your problems, but that's really not the case. Honestly, you really just need to learn the one you got. Learn that one first before you go start spending money. The more hours you swing it, the more hours you put into that detector, the more you're going to learn it. And I preach this a lot. I've said it in other videos, but it's the truth. Get those basics down with the detector that you already have, and it's going to pay off for you. I'm not saying extra coils and upgrading later on is not going to help. It will. But in the beginning, you need to make sure you've got those fundamentals solid before you just go start spending money. So in the beginning, just make sure you stick with what you got, learn it inside and out, and that's going to help. The next thing is you're going to dig junk, and you're going to dig a lot of it. The difference between a more experienced or seasoned detectorist and one that's frustrated is that the experienced detectorist expects trash, and they're going to dig it. They dig it anyway. I mean, sometimes I get trashy signals, and I think it might just be something good, and I'll go ahead and dig it. I mean, if it's trash, it's trash. Sometimes you get something good out of it. And the other thing is, I mean, some people say, why would you dig trash? But you learn by digging trash. On a trashy site, sometimes you need to get some of that out of the way because it can mask the good targets. And you might miss those. So don't be afraid to get out there and dig the junk. Get it out of the way. You might stand a better chance of getting something good. Every site teaches you something. Even the duds, or what you might consider to be a bad site. I thought every hunt had to produce something great, or it was a waste of time. But, you know, some of my biggest breakthroughs came from bad spots. Learning patience, technique, and what to avoid next time. And going back to the previous point, getting some of that trash out of the way enabled me to find something really good the next time I went out. So always be prepared to learn. Each side is going to teach you something. Don't wait until you know everything, because you never will. I thought I had to have every answer before starting, but the truth is you figure things out while you're detecting, not before. Yeah, I mean, yes, you can prepare and try to be as best prepared as you can, but figuring things out really comes with being on that site and detecting and you know, making adjustments to your settings, reading the ground, learning what that detector's telling you, learning the ground that you're hunting, and, you know, optimizing your settings the best that you can to try to get the most out of it. And that's something that you don't do beforehand. Yeah, that's something you do once you're on the site. That's why, you know, sometimes while a lot of the programs and stuff that people talk about, they're good and they might work good for them, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work good for you. So always keep that in mind. Just adjust your detector to suit where you're at. Adjust it for your ground. And yeah, you could start with one of those programs, but just remember it might not work for you. And so here's the last thing I'm going to talk about. I had to hop in the vehicle here because it's getting hot. Even with a nice breeze blowing out there and being in the shade right there, you know, in the edge of the woods, it's getting downright hot. So here's the last point that I'll share as far as things I wish I knew. But that point is that nobody else's journey matters. What matters is your journey. And we all start somewhere. And comparing yourself and your finds to someone else's is probably the quickest way to lose interest in the hobby or lose your love for the hobby. By all means, you know, it's good to watch other people, to celebrate their wins, and to learn things from them. But make sure that you're running your own race and not trying to run somebody else's race. I think that's, you know, the thing to think about there. So now I'm just going to tell you a quick little story that I want to talk about from one of my hunts that kind of hits home with a lot of this stuff. And I remember one of my first real finds, really old finds. And honestly, it wasn't anything. It wasn't silver. It wasn't even a coin. But it was something that kind of really hits home with a lot of these points that I just made. And I'll tell you a little bit about that find. And that particular find was a very old, mid to late 1800s mourning button. And this thing was, this button was giving me the same signal as any other, sometimes junkie target or even pennies and things like that would give me. When I pulled this out of the ground, I saw it was too big to be a coin. Or at least I pretty much thought it was too big to be a coin. And it looked a little bit crusty, and I immediately thought it was going to be junk. And when I cleaned it up, I realized it was old. It was really old. That mourning button told me more than any tutorial that I ever could have watched. And it said to me at that point on this permission that there's history here. You just have to be patient enough to find it. And history it was. Again, it was a mid to late 1800s button, a mourning button. And although it wasn't, you know, in stunning condition, to me it was an amazing find that had a real story behind it, and it proved to me at that point that there's more on this site. There's got to be more there. So I'll just leave you with this. If you're just getting started in the hobby, don't rush through the hard parts. This hobby teaches you how to hunt. Every mistake is part of the story. Every hole is part of the map that you're making for yourself. It's part of your race, not somebody else's race. And the stuff you learn during those frustrating hunts, that's what makes the good days feel like you earned them. So whether you've been detecting for a while or you're just getting started, if you're watching on YouTube on this episode, please drop a comment below and tell me a story. Let's talk about it, because I love hearing from people. And again, if you don't want to drop it in the comments here, use the form that I'm going to link in the description and go to that form, fill it out, tell me a story. You can make it totally private, or, give me permission to share it if you want. And I love reading other people's stories, and I love it when people share information and things like that. So by all means, please drop a comment or send me a comment or story. If you're brand new and something's tripping you up right now, let me know what that is. And if this helps you feel just a little bit more grounded in the journey, then please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And be sure to tune in to Straight from the Coil Beyond the Beeps for the next episode in 2 weeks. And that episode's going to be, you don't need a better detector. You need more time with the one you got. So please tune in 2 weeks if you want to catch that episode. And if you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you listening / watching. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.